Everyone at Brook Hollow High would remember the morning the police walked. Straight into the hallway, sirens off, but authority heavy in the air. Students froze, teachers whispered, and at the center of the crowd stood a new girl with a quiet posture, her hands trembling, not because she had done anything wrong, but because someone wanted to see her fall. A boy with a smirk claimed she didn't belong and deserved to be dragged out in front of everyone. But what he didn't know, what no one knew, was that the person he was attacking was the daughter of a judge who spent her life fighting injustice. And by the end of the day, roles would reverse. The accuser would become the one answering questions, and the girl he tried to humiliate would be the one everyone stood behind. Meera Patel had moved more times than she could count, but this time was different. Her father, Judge Arvind Patel, had taken a year-long assignment in the city, and Meera was starting her junior year in a new country, a new school, and a place where she hoped no one would treat her differently. She stepped out of her father's car that morning with her backpack held close, trying not to draw attention. She never liked crowds. She never liked eyes on her. Her father squeezed her shoulder and whispered, "Just be you, that's enough." The hallways were buzzing with lockers clanging shut, sneakers sliding across linoleum floors, and laughter echoing. Meera kept her eyes low, walking gently through the crowd. She didn't know anyone yet, but she already sensed curiosity following her. Some whispered. Some stared longer than they should have. One boy laughed too loudly when she passed, and Meera felt a pinch in her chest. Still, she held her calm. In English class, she took a seat at the back, near the window. Sunlight warmed the corner, making it feel a bit safer. A friendly girl named Amelia turned to her with a bright smile. "Hey, you new?" she asked softly. Meera nodded. "I'm Amelia. If you need help finding classes or anything, I'm here." Meera appreciated that. Kindness from strangers always felt like quiet blessing. But not everyone was like Amelia. Across the classroom sat Trevor Miles, the boy everyone seemed to either admire or fear. He wore confidence like armor, but arrogance settled behind his eyes. Trevor noticed Meera the moment she entered. He noticed everything that made her different, and instead of curiosity, something unkind stirred inside him. He leaned toward his friends. "Another one," he whispered. "Let's see how long she lasts." When class ended, Trevor accidentally bumped into her, making her books scatter across the floor. Meera bent down quietly to pick them up. Amelia helped, but Trevor's voice cut through the hallway. "Careful with people who don't belong here," he said loudly. A crowd turned. Meera felt heat rise in her cheeks, but she remained still. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't argue. She simply walked away. But that calm only made Trevor angrier. By lunchtime, rumors had spread, the kind that formed from nothing but malice. Trevor claimed Meera said something disrespectful to him, though she never did. He claimed she acted suspicious. He even accused her of trying to enter a staff room she had simply walked past. The story grew, twisted, reshaped. Some students believed him. Some shrugged it off. But Trevor wasn't satisfied. He wanted a reaction. He wanted control. He wanted to prove that someone like her had no place in his world. By afternoon, Trevor's anger had grown into something dangerous. He cornered Meera near the staircase. "Look," he said in a voice that pretended to be reasonable. "You're new. You don't know how things work here. If you want to avoid trouble, stay away from me. Understand?" Meera met his eyes, calm, steady. "I'm not looking for trouble. That's not how it works." Trevor sneered. Moments later, Amelia rushed over, sensing something wrong. Trevor backed away, but the damage was done. He had decided she was his target. Meera left school that day with a heaviness she didn't show her father. Judge Patel asked how her first day was. She simply said, "I survived." She tried to forget it. She tried to start fresh the next morning, but Trevor wanted a scene. He wanted an audience, and he wanted power. The next day, when Meera walked into school, Trevor made a choice that would change everything. A choice built on prejudice, ignorance, and a thirst for attention. He dialed 911. The school was halfway through its first period when police arrived quietly, but their presence was impossible to ignore. Two officers stepped into the front office, confusion already visible on their faces. They had received a call from a student claiming a suspicious girl was trespassing, possibly dangerous. The principal hurried over, startled. "Suspicious? Who?" "We don't have any incident reported." But the officers had a name, Meera Patel. The principal froze. "Meera? She's a new student." enrolled legally. She hasn't even had a warning slip. Still, procedure was procedure. They had to verify. Word spread like wildfire. Doors opened. Students stepped into hallways. Teachers whispered urgently. And in the middle of it all, Mira stood by her locker, unaware of the storm heading toward her. When the officers approached her, she instinctively stepped back, not afraid of them, but afraid of the humiliation. "Is something wrong?" she asked softly. "Are you Mira Patel?" One officer asked. "Yes," she replied. "We received a report. We need to ask you a few questions." Sudden silence spread like a shadow. Trevor appeared behind the crowd with triumph in his eyes. He nodded at the officers, pretending to look helpful. "She's the one. I told you she wasn't supposed to be here." Mira blinked, confused. Amelia rushed to her side. She didn't do anything, but Trevor stepped forward, fabricating confidently. "I saw her trying to break into the science lab yesterday. I tried to warn her, but she ignored me. The lie was smooth, practiced, and dangerous." An officer gently reached for Mira's wrist, not forcefully, but by protocol. Students gasped. Phones came out.